is Dr. A with something to say. Have you ever thought about time? That's right, time. Time is what makes the world go round. Those minutes run into hours and hours, into days and days and weeks to months and months to years. And yes, that's it. It's all calculated with time. That's why it is so important that we think about time and use our time wisely. That's in all aspects of our life. When we're in school and we look around and we have some students that do so well in school, we have to realize that didn't just come through osmosis. They don't get those A's and get into those great schools without putting the time in. So you can't look and say, oh my goodness, how did they do it? Well, they put the time in. If you want success, you have to put the time in. A lot of times we sit back and we feel like it's just going to happen. But it's not going to happen without time. Same thing with relationships. A lot of us want to have these wonderful relationships, but you know what? Relationships take time. All relationships. When you're looking for a spouse, you have to put the time in. You either find someone that maybe isn't Mr. 100% right for you, but you put the time in to mold him, to shape him, to make him into the person that you need for your life. Or else you put the time in dating. And you go out with different people and you find that person that has the personality conducive to yours so that you can have a wonderful life together. But any way it goes, you put the time in. Relationships don't just come from nowhere. They take time. And if a good relationship is what you want, you need to put the time in. And when I say relationship, that's all relationships. How can you consider yourself a good friend without putting the time in? Every now and then, drop a text. Call on the phone for a couple of minutes. Send a greeting card. Just to let them know, I'm thinking about you. Friendships need time. Plants, if you want a plant to grow, you have to put the time in, cultivate it, water it, put some plant food in for it to grow. Same thing with relationships. You want it to grow, you have to put some time in. And that's all relationships. Even our families. Sometimes we take families for granted. And we don't put the time in to our family that we need to. We know they exist. We know they're there. But when's the last time you called Auntie Sue or Uncle John just to say hi? How's everything going? You have to put the time in order to have the relationship. Same thing with parents. As we grow up, we don't have the same type of relationship that we had when we were younger. When you're little, you live in the house, you're there, you see them all the time. But then as you grow up, your paths change. Some of us are not fortunate to have our parents in the same city or the same state. So what do we have to do? We have to carve out that time to make sure we're still able to cultivate the relationship, because you know what? Time goes by. It goes by fast. And if we don't put that time in now, we'll look up and that time is gone. That day is over. So we have to make sure that anything that is important to us, we put the time in. If you want upward mobility, a lot of young people, they have a dream. They say, oh, you know what? I'm going to be a millionaire. You have to put the time in. And when I say the time, that's not an 8-hour workday. Because an 8-hour workday was designed for survival. It was designed to get you by. Statistics show that if you want success in the sense of real monetary gain, you want millions, you want billions, and it's possible. But you need to work 12, 14 hours, because that first 8 hours is just for survival. The other hours are moving you ahead toward that point that you want to be. If you want your own business, you have to put the time in. A lot of times you look at individuals with their own business and you look at it as easy. It's not easy. When you go to work, they usually give you your assignments. This is what you do. So you know, if you finish A, B, and C, you're going to get that paycheck. When you're running your own business, it doesn't work like that. No one tells you to do A, B, and C. You have to figure out A, B, and C and decide how you're going to manage your time to get A, B, and C done efficiently so you can be successful. You can't look at individuals that have success and then look back and say, well, why me? Well, why don't I have it? Is it because you're not capable? No, you're capable. Is it because you don't have the same intellect? No, you're intelligent. 9 times out of 10, when individuals have something that you would like, it's because they put the time in. And there's a lot of things. We live in a society now where there's a lot of distractions when it comes to time. Social media can be a wonderful thing. But how many times do we find ourselves on social media just flipping through the time feed, looking at other people's lives, looking at TikToks? Yeah, they're funny and some of them are good. And yes, I do watch them too. But you got to monitor that. Or else you will spend all your time checking out other people's lives, seeing how other people are successful, seeing the wonderful things that other relationships are experiencing and not yours. So don't put more time into other people's lives, enjoying watching what they're doing, that you put into your own. And here's a big one. Make sure you put time in for yourself. A lot of us are so busy worrying about our children, our parents, our jobs, that we forget to put the time in to ourselves. Make sure that as you're strategically planning your day, as you're carving out time for these things that are important, because yeah, we want upward mobility. Yes, we want successful relationships, but we also want ourselves to be content. So we have to put that time in for ourselves. So put that time in for you too. What is it that you enjoy doing? Make sure you set a little time aside for that. But not too much. Because I know sometimes you can sit there and start watching a show, and next thing you know, 6 hours have gone by, you've been binge watched, and it's done. But if you happen to do that one day, just remember you have to make up the time somewhere else. Success doesn't happen overnight. It happens through time. And we all have the same 365 days in a year. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. So think about it. Plan it out. Decide what is it that you want to accomplish, and make those minutes count. When you look back, be proud of how you spent your time. When you look back, you should be better today than you were yesterday. Take pride in that. Don't look back and 5 years from now say, where did all the time go? Look back and say, look at what I did with all that time. Remember, time, it's a terrible thing to waste, but it's a wonderful thing to use. This is Dr. A. Until next time, use it wisely.